Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Polygon Matic. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. If you haven't seen the previous update, make sure to watch that before watching this one. And yeah, let's get straight into the TA. Taking a look at Matic on the daily chart, as you can see, we have a Fibonacci retracement with the swing high set up all the way back in December 2021 and with the swing low in June of 2022, which I think is going to be the low for Polygon Matic in this bear market unless we see Bitcoin drop back to $10,000. So obviously in that case, a lot of the altcoins are going to start dropping and going below their June low and even going below their July 2021 low. And in fact, a lot of projects have already done that. So in that case, of course, Polygon Matic could definitely go even below the June low, and this will be a great buying opportunity if you can set up buy limit orders in that area. However, no one can guarantee that that is going to happen. That is why I am dollar cost averaging in the market slowly but surely, and if we see any strong dips, I'm gonna try to buy in even harder, so to speak. So what happened here back in November is we ran into the golden ratio of the Fibonacci retracement, and this is called the dead cat bounce. So usually what happens is we see a high, then we see a retracement, our low is printed, then we start retracing to the upside and we run into the golden ratio, which is the 0.618 at $1.25 roughly. And when that happens and we get rejected back down, there is a very strong chance that we might see a pullback either to the 0.236 or to the 0 Fibonacci level, which is the swing low. So in case we see that happen, you are prepared with buy limit orders, as anyone should be, because you never know what the market is going to do tomorrow. You don't know what sort of news are going to be coming out tomorrow. Maybe Elon Musk says that he's accepting Bitcoin in the next 15 minutes and crypto, well, Tesla accepts Bitcoin as payments, and then we see the bull market kick off in the next 15 minutes. That could happen, right? Obviously, that's not very likely, but I'm trying to make a point that you should be ready for both outcomes. So taking a look at the markets right now and how we're, in this crab market, and we have this strong support block anywhere between 73.5 cents or actually 75.5 cents all the way to 69 cents. This is a strong support area that we have been retesting since July, and we have retested that area as resistance back in May. So this is a strong support block for us. And if we end up losing that, that's going to be quite negative, especially if we come back up to retest it as resistance and we get sent back down. Then you have the yellow support trend line here at 60 cents and a half. That's going to be our next immediate support below. But like I said, hopefully we can stay above this support block. Dipping into it would be great for dollar cost averaging. That's perhaps where I would be dollar cost averaging, because my average buy-in price right now for Polygon is somewhere around 44 cents. That's where I bought in. And I should have bought in a lot more because I didn't know that this was going to happen, obviously, right? I was diversifying, but I am staking, I am earning passive income, so I'm increasing my position, swing trading sometimes when I can. I did swing trade this pump over here, sold at $1.29 exactly, because that's where the resistance was, and that's where we had the golden ratio. So I figured that would be a great area to take profits, considering that the project was very overextended and we were approaching this sort of quick spike, and it's really unhealthy. And I knew that wasn't sustainable over time. And obviously we dropped back down and I bought in around $1. So that was a nice trade. And I shared that on my Patreon. So if you want to stay up to date with all my low cap gems, exclusive podcast episodes, and a whole bunch of stuff, then Patreon is the place for you. And especially if you want to support the channel, of course. But what we're seeing right now is that Polygon Matic is holding the 20 and the 55 EMAs as support, which is good, right? Because when you're above these, they're going to create the bullish cross where the 20, the yellow EMA, crosses above the red EMA, and that is a buy signal. However, in a bear market, I don't think that that's necessarily your buy signal, because in a bear market, you could get a bullish cross followed by a bearish cross soon after. That doesn't really happen in bull markets from my experience. So Usually I would be looking at the weekly EMAs for confirmations or for buy signals during bear markets. So this support block is something that I would target. Like I said, if we go below that, you have the yellow trend line at 60.5 cents. Then you have the 0.236 Fibonacci retracement at 53 cents. If we go down that low, I'm going to be buying quite a few Polygon coins myself. We did see a bounce off of that support in July as well. And then you also have the next support trend line over here. You can see that you held that very nicely at the end of June and at the beginning of July, and that was 46 cents. So that's your next level. But overall, Polygon is doing great. We're in this sort of chop sideways range. We're going to break out of it one way or the other because we can't be going sideways forever. We can't be pumping forever, and we can't be going down forever. So it all depends on Bitcoin, obviously. However, if we get some bullish news regarding a new partnership that Polygon has secured, then you can bet your booty that we're going to be seeing a very strong push, just like we saw over here, because Polygon already has a ton of strong partnerships. And if we see any more of that, we're definitely going to be seeing, potentially $1.80 next year, right? As early as January, February, if we get anything like that. And Trust Wallet is obviously pumping, so we're above our all-time highs. And for Polygon Matic right now, we are simply 222% away from our all-time high price, and we're down from that 68%. So Polygon has been very healthy during this bull market. We capitulated here and went down 89%. So that's not really a very usual altcoin correction during a bear market, but regardless, we have recovered since that June low, and we've made a 311% move to the upside. Great money to be made within a bear market, as you can see. So a couple of resistance levels above us, obviously the golden ratio, $1.25, the resistance block, the golden block here, because we've retested that as support earlier this year multiple times, and we haven't, we actually retested as a resistance, and we may do that again sometime in the next couple of weeks or months, depending on what the market does. And then you have the $1.82 or 81 cents, and obviously then we have the all-time high at $2.92. Now, jumping into the daily RSI, this is very interesting, by the way. We do continuously see a retest off this channel up pattern. So as you can see, if I bring out the arrow, you can see that we had a test here in May, a test in June, a test in September, a test in November, then a move down in November as well with a double bottom pattern basically, and then we're bouncing from there. So this was a great entry, November 26th, November 27th, and right now we are running into the white trend line. That is a strong resistance as well, because we've held that as support previously, then flipped to resistance, then flipped to support. So this is a valid trend line that you can use for swing trading, because the more trend lines you have, right, the more you're agile and the more you can basically navigate the charts. So you can use the price action chart along with the RSI chart and see if it's a great time to sell or a great time to take profits. For example, the way I took profits here at $1.29 is I looked at the RSI and we were basically very close to the resistance block that we have here on top, and we're in the 80 RSI region. So we went there in October last year, we went there in July this year, and we went there in November this year. So I was like, well, that's a great area for me to take some profits. That's exactly what I did, and I bought back in, I think at $1.04, something like that. So 20% discount for me, and so I sold there, bought back in there, basically got more tokens for the same amount of money. So that's how I use the RSI, and obviously right now we are in the middle, smack dab in the middle. So if we see any overextensions to the upside, if you are careful enough, if you know how to swing trade, you can do that. However, if we see a strong dip, then you could target either the pink trend line as support, because we've had that as a resistance for multiple times, had a little fake out here as support. And if you want to be targeting the pink trend line for entries, that's also smart. And in general, if we end up dropping below the index of 30 and we're going to be here in the black zone below, then historically that's a very good entry point for Polygon Matic. Now let's switch over to the Binance website. So taking a quick look at Polygon Matic on the weekly chart, nothing really has been changing. We're breaking out of this falling wedge. In fact, we already broke out of the falling wedge, and we have our support trend line here at 74 cents. A bit of a different setup here. As you can see, I like to have different charts with different fib retracements. And so far, we haven't retested this yellow support trend line, which I think could happen since we saw a bounce back in September. So this is a strong support level for us to hold. Also, what could happen is we could end up going all the way back to retest the previous resistance of the falling wedge. So this light blue trend line could be retested before we see further pumps. So keep in mind that could happen, because usually when you break out of a resistance level, you tend to come back down to retest that as support, and then you have your next leg up. That's also something that could happen. Obviously, it doesn't happen every single time. But with how the markets are going right now, we've gone through a lot of crap. The FTX scam was sort of the final nail in the coffin, right? Or so you would think. So if there is anything that could harm the markets, I think Tether and Binance are the last two sort of things that if they collapse, right, we're going to see a very, very, very big dip. And in that case, I can honestly see Polygon Matic go all the way back down to the support of the falling wedge. And we may just stay in that area until we see the breakout in 2023. But I don't see that happening. I don't see Binance going under, because in my opinion, it's just too big to fail. But obviously, you need to protect your crypto. And just try to move it away from centralized exchanges. Now, taking a look at the RSI on the weekly is very healthy. As always, take a look at the teal resistance trend line, which was turned to support as soon as we broke out. So look for entries once we potentially see a back test of support here, right? Once you come back and do that, right, you might see a bounce from there, and that's how these resistance levels work. So keep an eye on that. Like I said, we're doing okay on the weekly RSI. If we get overextended, great area to take some profits. Also, something to keep in mind is this new resistance trend line that we just created, which is with this high in December 2021 and this high in October 2022. So this is another resistance level for us to keep in mind. But that has been it for this week's update. Hopefully I didn't miss out anything important. If we take a look at the volume, nothing too big right now. Compare this to April 2021. You can see how crazy it was back then. So right now, we're just chilling a bit. If I actually go to the 3-day chart, let's see if we get any sort of descending patterns here. Well, we're sort of getting some sort of a descending pattern here, right? At some point, we are going to see a breakout because usually once you see these structures, you tend to see breakouts, but it doesn't really look like that's going to be happening right now. Usually there is a very clear triangular shape where you keep going like this, right? So you have a clear triangle and then you see the volume spike. That happens a lot, but not in this case. I don't think so, at least, because it's not very... not how it usually goes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you all for watching. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and feel free to check out my Patreon. Links are in the description. Peace out.